Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about X-Men 97 Season 1, Episode 5, Remember It. I feel like Joy Lawrence when I'm about to say, whoa! Like, this is such, like serious, that's all that comes to my mind, like, Joey Lawrence and everything, because, like, this is like a wow type episode. I mean, a wow type episode, man. It's like, whoa, and everything. I can't believe all the stuff that happened in this episode, because right before I saw this episode, I was starting to have doubts about this series, because first things first, this show should have been its own thing. They should have never ever tied it to the original series because certain like character models are tweaked a little bit, like hairstyles and everything with no explanation. Like Bishop, why all of a sudden he cut his hair? Why did like Storm decide to go and do the mohawk thing? And so I'm just curious to know, like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why did Morph decide to change his face appearance where he's no longer human looking? You know, it's the little things like that. Why does Nightcrawler look completely different in the face? Why is Nightcrawler's personality extremely different? Why is his power vamping completely different looking? And so, like, just little things like that. Plus, with the new voice cast, because after, like, I was so curious to know who all's back, who all's not. Everybody is recast except for Rogue, Beast, and Wolverine. Everybody else is completely new, except for those three and everything. And so, like, because some people died, and some people, I don't know why they didn't come back. My guess is because maybe their voices got older, because everybody had to re-audition again, especially the Rogue actress, which I don't understand why she didn't get recast because her voice does not sound the same. It sounds younger, and it sounds like she can't hold it for whatever reason. But it sounds younger. And so, like, and Beast finally sounded like Beast 100% this time instead of just a little bit. Wolverine is really the only person who truly sounds like himself. But, like, everybody else got recast. And by the way, Chris Potter, who did the voice of Gambit back in the 90s series, he cameoed as Cable in this episode. And I was really irritated because the original Cable actor voice is really distinct and he does not sound anything like that. And so a lot of these new voice people, some of them sound similar to the originals and some sound completely different. And because of that, I'm just like, you know what? It's kind of like that Tiny Toons reboot. Just make it your own thing and don't try to copy off the original. Because when I see these characters look the way they do from like the older series but sound slightly or completely different, it throws off my headcanon. Also, this whole love triangle between Magneto, Rogue, and Gambit, man, this whole thing just pisses me off. Because you mean to tell me she was fooling around with him before she joined the X-Men, and both of them pretending like, oh, it never happened. No, don't mess with my head canon, because I got a good memory, man. Like, I don't appreciate that crap. So this should have really been its own thing. And trying to say it's like a continuation of the 90s series, but they're now throwing in 2000s comic storylines in the mix, which is smart, because those are some really captivating and intriguing comics. But that's not the 90s comics, and it's a different they would have to completely change the costumes too, because like I said before, I don't want to keep seeing these 90s costumes. It ain't the 90s no more. They have such cooler costumes now in the comics, so why not adapt those? And so this really should have been its own thing. Another problem I do have is like the pacing and stuff. This series is very rushed. You watch one episode, like episode 1, 3, and especially 4 are rushed. And I mean, they are rushed. When things are just happening left and right, I'm all like, whoa, man, just slow down so I can keep up. But episode 2 and this episode has some nice pacing and everything, where it wasn't sped up. And I really appreciate that. But one problem I am having is that This has like a huge roster of X-Men, but not everybody's getting their time to shine. My favorite X-Men of all time, Wolverine, has not done anything of significance in all these 5 episodes. He's literally just there. Not only is he just there, he's not even angry no more. He's more like a pacifist. And he doesn't even do the loner stuff. That's the Wolverine in this series is not Wolverine. He is not a pacifist. He does not just like, he wants to be in the action. So I don't know what the world they're doing. But then ironically, the 3 people who came back, Beast, Rogue, and Wolverine, are the 3 who really don't do much. Beast has not done much at all of anything this entire series. No solo episode, no nothing. Rogue has now finally done something in 5 episodes, where something focuses on her. Gambit has now finally done something, and that's the episode that took him out. And it's just like even more who they brought back for whatever reason doesn't do anything in this show. Bishop, who they brought back for whatever reason, only thing he did was take Nathan to the future, and that is literally it. What is the point of bringing some of these characters back if they weren't going to do anything with them? And they don't even have to do much. They could at least talk or something like that, like talk and do something, but they barely do that. And so I have been very iffy about this series, because while it's good and it's interesting, it's not as great as everybody is saying. The reason why they're saying it is great is because of a couple of reasons. 1, they're tired of Marvel Disney. 2, they're tired of Disney Plus. 3, they're tired of all the humor and all these Marvel stuff. 4, Marvel animation just sucks, period. And like 5, they love the 90s X-Men series. So when they see all the flashiness and the action and all this and that, it's nostalgia tricking their mind and everything. And I refuse to allow nostalgia to trick my mind and everything. Because I already told you, I'm done with nostalgia. Because when it comes to this series, I'm an action junkie. But the quieter moments episodes are the ones I actually appreciate more. Episode 2. The second half of episode 4 with the Storm and Forge thing. I didn't like that Jubilee crap. But I really did love this episode and the action with it. This is so anime. And that's another thing. This is not the 90s X-Men cartoon. This ain't the 90s X-Men cartoon. This is like so anime. This is like X-Men anime that came out in the 90s or so. Cause it's so like fluid with the action, and Magneto's glass on like the table with the ice dripping down in the water. That's so anime. Come on now. But the man who got fired himself, who has now come back to social media, which I am now wondering, was his firing a publicity stunt? Because everybody knows that people are getting tired of Marvel and comic books, and they might not have came back. But it's the X-Men. The X-Men from the 90s. Of course they was coming back. But there was some controversy from those anti-woke toxic mob people. Oh, Wolverine's gonna be gay. Morph non-binary. Blah, 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 blah. And Rogue ain't got no booty. So it's like, maybe they feared, hey, if these people start agitating normal people and everything, like they do with other properties, which cause people not to want to watch them, maybe they'll do it here. So, of course, when they fired Bo DeMayo, everybody was talking about it. And so I'm wondering now if this is a publicity stunt and everything. Only time will tell. And so this episode was really, really, really good. And so basically what it is that Genosha has been opened up and mutants are living there. And I think the UN is doing something with it. I don't know what. While this is going on, like this news documentary people are talking to the X-Men, talking about mutants and all this other stuff and all these things that have been going on. And so that was really interesting. And I found that to be intriguing with the whole split screen of Cyclops and Jean and how they're finishing each other's sentences and stuff like that. There's a lot going on in this episode. And so basically when it comes to Jean and Cyclops, they decided to do the affair storyline. But instead of Emma Frost, it's now Madeline Pryor. So Cyclops has had enough of humans and everything. He's just fed up. But why exactly? I mean, yeah, he went through a lot of stuff in the 90s. But a lot of it was not humans' faults. A lot of it was actually mutants' faults and stuff like that. But a lot of it was human faults. Then when you get into these episodes, a lot of stuff humans have, yes, done some bad things, like, you know, the storm and this and that, but this is Cyclops we're talking about. Cyclops does not feel like Cyclops from the 90s at all. They decided to spice him up, make him more edgier, and make him more cool because he's been dumped on so much since the Fox X-Men movies in every animated series since. And so they really wanted to make him cool. So I'm like, all right, fine, that's all right. But now they're starting to radicalize him and everything. He's hating humans. And I know, I bet you anything, they're going to do that storyline where Cyclops turns evil. The one where he killed the professor and everything because the Phoenix Force took him over. I bet you anything they're going to do that. And so for the longest time, I've been wondering what exactly this season going to be about. Because, you know, they introduced Madeline Pryor and they rushed her third episode to where she got activated, turned evil, turned good towards the end. So I'm like, well, what the heck, man? I thought this whole season might be, you know, drama with them. But it wasn't until this episode. As, like, he's talking to Jean and everything. I thought he was talking to Jean. He's talking to Madeline Pryor, dressed as Jean. And Jean found that out and got super pissed. So he's been having an affair for over a month. And it's very shocking. Still, we don't know when the clone was created. And we still don't know if the clone was ever active doing like the original run, because now both ladies don't know whose memories are who. And I really hate that because that's messing with my headcanon and stuff. And I don't want that. I was satisfied with them changing the comics and making Jean Cable's mother and everything. So this is throwing me off. So she's pissed at him. But then what's so crazy is that she kissed Wolverine. She has never done that. It's always been a love triangle, but it's always been Wolverine pining after her and her just passing him along and going back to Cyclops, always making an excuse to go back to Cyclops and stuff. And so the fact that she kissed him is really weird and really bizarre and everything. And Wolverine just passed on it like, nah, man, I ain't having this crap. And I'm just like, dude, this is something you've been wanting since episode 1 of season 1 of like the original series. And it's just like really weird. Also, it's weird, like I said, fast pacing. It's like when they found out Madeline's a clone, they just let her go up into the room and hang out with the baby and everything. I'm all like, the old X-Men would have like confined her to like a room or something. But anyway, it turns out Madeline Pryor is on Genosha and she's part of the council. And people are loving her and she's having a good old time. And I'm just kind of like, this is such a rushed storyline. Like, I was expecting a whole lot more from her, a lot more juice, a lot more drama and everything. And so, with all of that, you know, the people on Genosha, they're celebrating. It looks really cool, man, like a tropical island, and they're having a great time, and you see all these cameos and everything. And then we get introduced or reintroduced to Nightcrawler, and this pisses me off because one, Nightcrawler is like my third favorite X-Men, but he was never part of this roster, so it's okay. But they changed his vamping effect, which I don't mind. It's just, it's not the one from the 90s. Another thing they changed is, of course, the hairstyle. The voice actor. No, I think the voice actor might have came back for this. Yeah, he came back for this. But it doesn't sound like him. It sounds like the dude from Wolverine, the X-Men. But here is the problem. He doesn't act the same. This Nightcrawler acts like a combination of the 90s X-Men, X-Men Evolution, big time, and the one from Wolverine in the X-Men, because he's just bouncing around everywhere in this really smiley, goofy kind of way, almost like he's playing, having a good time, like the one from X-Men Evolution. And it's just like, you know, Seriously, man, he doesn't act like that same dude from the 90s X-Men cartoon. He's not all talking about God that much, and he's not talking very calm, and he's just a completely different person, and that just really drives me nuts. And he's really only there to cameo and stuff. And so, like, the next storyline, which they did a really good pacing between the two storylines, and then the next one is, of course, the Gambit, Rogue, and Magneto thing that seems to have went nowhere until now. So I've just been wondering, when the heck are they gonna bring this up and talk about it in a proper kind of way? And now they have. We find out back when Rogue was younger and she was hanging out with, like, Mystique, pretending to be her mom and everything, that, like, she put her on to Magneto and they fell in love when she found out that his powers prevent him from, like, losing, like, his powers and mind. I'm shocked they did this, and especially at that point in time, because wasn't she like a teenager or something around that time? I don't remember. She might have been 17, 18, maybe 19. Now, if it's 18, 19, that's fine. But if it's younger than that, then it's not, because that's an older man with a much younger girl, and he groomed the crap out of her. And it's just where they're like, we're going to pretend like this ain't never happened. I know, man. Don't mess with my head canon. And they've been making Gambit look like a punk because he doesn't do anything about it. He just takes it and everything. And then Magneto and Rogue shares like a dance. And it's really intimate. I'm surprised it's a kid cartoon. And every time they dance on this show, it's mesmerizing. I don't know how they do that with the camera and the animation, but it's mesmerizing and stuff. So basically, they want Magneto to run Genosha. And I hate this Magneto design. I hate the costume. And his face is completely redesigned from the original series. And they tried to make it show that he had longer hair when he met Rogue, but he didn't. He had short hair to his chin when they first met, like Magneto and stuff. And then he had longer hair in the other seasons. But the fact that this whole love affair happened and they pretend like it never happened in the original series, that pisses me off. I just want to say that again. And so, like, he wants to marry her. And she talks to Gambit. He's pissed. I like him throwing the cards and, like, the flames. And they just made Gambit into a punk who just takes all this crap. He's more mouthy than this. The original Gambit would never take this crap without running his mouth off. So he just said he'll just treat her as a friend and that's it. So she dances with Magneto, but then she rejects him and everything. And then we get some strange stuff happening. We get Cable show up and he's trying to warn them about somebody, but he gets sent back through his little time machine thing, which, how did that work? Because his time machine thing works perfectly. It shouldn't have, like, pulled him back. Also, his voice does not sound similar to the original one because a different actor is voicing him. Chris Potter, the voice of Gambit. And so, like, I'm all like, could this be the adversary? I'm like, wait, no, wait. It's moving like a sentinel. I'm like, oh, crap, it's Master Mode. So who built this Master Mode all of a sudden that has 3 heads and looks like a scorpion? And so he's just shooting out sentinels left and right. And you don't see the mutants attack the sentinels. They're just running scared because the sentinels are taking them out, literally murdering them, especially anyone who goes up against Master Mode. Nobody can, like, defeat him. And they are slaughtering mutants left and right. I could not believe that. And it was a great choreographed action scene. It didn't go by too fast like all the other ones. And I did like the whole Gambit riding on a motorcycle. It was so superhero-like and so anime-like. What was it? Akira, I think it was. It was just so cool, right? And so he's just using his powers left and right. Magneto's frustrated and just, like, trying to take out as many of them as he can, trying to protect the people. Rogue is like trying to fight the Sentinels and stuff like that, and Gambit uses like that chain and uses his power, uses his staff. He saves the Morlocks and everything, but they get overwhelmed to the point where Magneto has a group of like people and he's trying to save them with a force field, but Master Mode is too strong. Rogue, seeing what's his name is about to die and everything, she tries to stop him, but he tries to save Rogue and Gambit, only for Magneto and those people he tried to save die. Rogue is berserk because she still loves him and tries to stop him, but Gambit stops her, and then he tries to take on Master Mode himself. And I'm like, oh, I bet he's gonna touch Master Mode and blow him up. But nope, he gets stabbed and everything. And when he gets stabbed, the metal cord is through his body, and he lets his power out through the metal cord, which is awesome. And he lights up Master Mode. And then he says his famous line, "The name is Gambit. Remember it." And boom. I'm like, dude, if you have to go out, that's the best way to go out right then and there. It's so Iron Man and stuff. But yes, Gambit is dead. He's dead in Rogue's arm, and the X-Men are just watching this shocked and surprised. And I'm all like, well, where the heck are y'all at? Like, why y'all didn't show up? Rogue and them took the Blackbird to Genosha. But if you remember, in the X-Men cartoon, they have smaller wing vehicles and stuff, smaller jets. They're blue and they're yellow and they're more compact. Why didn't they hop on that and fly on over to Genosha instead of watching shocked and surprised and everything, you know? And so, like, yeah, they're dead. And that blonde lady, I've said this before, I think that's Mystique. It has to be Mystique and everything. It just feels like Mystique. And so, you know, they're going to come back alive and everything. Duh, time travel. Or I will love it. I will love it if Rogue goes to Sinister and be all like, yo, clone Gambit and Magneto for me. But you know it's going to be time travel because, I mean, they got two time traveling mutants on the show, Cable and Bishop. So something's gonna happen where they're gonna restart the clock, and that's kind of gonna be a cop-out. Now I don't know if I want to see that, but then again, I do want to see Gambit come back alive. Not Magneto, but at least Gambit. And it really pisses me off they now did something with Rogue, because she's another one of my favorite X-Men. And they've been crapping all over her in this series. And I'm just kind of like, I don't get that. Why are they only focusing on a certain, like, just like Jean and Cyclops and sometimes Storm and not the others, you know? Oh, also Sunspot and Jubilee, but Sunspot has barely done anything this entire season. But yeah, this was like a really good episode, but it's not perfect because the series isn't perfect. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.